Hare Krishna. Question from Panchapanda Prabhu. Is the Vedanta Sutra personalistic or impersonalistic in its teachings? Answer. The Vedanta Sutra points towards personalism as it moves forward through its various chapters. So the Vedanta Sutra essentially is an analysis of the teachings of the Upanishads. So among the 108 Upanishads, 10 Upanishads are primary, and those Upanishads, what their meaning is, that is discussed in the Vedanta Sutra. So for example, there are certain important passages in the Upanishads. So what are the meanings of those passages? By logic and by reference to other sages and preceding authorities, the Vedanta Sutra analyzes and confirms their meanings. So now the sutras themselves are very terse, because of which the sutras can also be explained in various different ways. At the same time, if we move forward systematically in the content of the Vedanta Sutra, so we see first it talks about how there are various different terms in the scriptures, and these terms ultimately refer to Brahman. That's the more or less the teaching of the first chapter. Of course, various other subjects come up, it's technical. But then afterward, the second chapter talks about how this Brahman is the ultimate reality, the support of everything else. Then after that, it talks about how there are the attributes of Brahman. And in the attributes of Brahman, if we analyze it carefully, there is clear reference to attributes that belong to a personal and theistic deity. So that's how the absolute truth is personal. And then finally, when the sadhana is talked about, even the sadhana, there are many references to personalist mode based worship, that is Bhakti. So is the Vedanta Sutra personalist? Yes, definitely it is. But that personalism is more because it is a conclusion based on the Upanishads, and the Upanishads, if you consider the Vedic scriptures to be like a continuum, then negative axis is material things and positive axis spiritual things. So Karma Kanda is on the negative axis but moving towards the positive. The Upanishads are at the 0 point, and the Purana, especially the Bhagavad Purana, is on the positive axis. So the Vedanta Sutra, because it is based on the Upanishads, so therefore it is, the Upanishads are being at the 0 point, they are personal, they point towards personalism. They start with rejection of material form and they end with indication of spiritual form. So Vedanta Sutra is also like that, but the Vedanta Sutra also gives some points which are having a deeper conclusion of personalism. And this is actually something which is not just pointed out by the Vaishnava Acharyas like Ramacharya, Baldev Vidyabhushan, Madhvacharya, but even Western scholars. There's a famous scholar Thibaut who in the Sacred Books of the East, which is a series edited by Max Muller. So he was the translator of the Vedanta Sutra along with the commentary by Ramacharya and Shankaracharya. And as an introduction he writes, Shankaracharya has interpreted Vedanta Sutra impersonalistically, but if we let the sutras speak for themselves, the sutras are personalist. Their conclusion is pointing towards personalism. So generally speaking, because the Vedanta Sutra is also complex, it's best to understand them through the acharyas. And when we understand them through the acharyas, then we can see how actually they are giving personalist conclusion. And that personalist conclusion which is given in the Vedanta Sutra is more systematically and vividly explained in the Bhagavatam. That's why the Bhagavatam is called as the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So yes, the Vedanta Sutra is definitely personalist, but because it is based on the Upanishads, so the personalism is not as emphatic as is that in the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita. It is more of a conclusion towards which it is pointing. Thank you. Hare Krishna.